What's up, locker room? You know, it is that Tuesday where we sit and get a chance to chat. A week is gone by. I say a pretty good week. You know what I mean? Given all the things that I experienced. And now we head into this week. And Monday night is what I say heads into a pretty good week for me. You know, there was so much went on with those double headers on Monday Night Football. You got some unexpected innings in both of them that I think kind of made the weekend. Another one of those kiss your sister weekends. Remember how you felt when the Cowboys and the Packers played? It is just kind of like that because we went through the motions, we learned some information, but we really didn't get better and we really lost the game, even though we didn't really lose in positions. And I figured that. We had done, we were doing this little survey on which topic should we start with. And of course, Dallas Cowboys, 71%, but understandably so because it's me, but also understandably so because it's the Dallas Cowboys. And I played for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, not because, because I did. I did play, and it is because of me, because I am what it is. I am that guy that played, that guy that loved the game and loved talking about it, and love talking about it with you guys about what makes the game so great. So, listen, I was absolutely disappointed with the Cowboys' performance on defense. I'm not crazy disappointed with what I saw on offense because, I saw things. I saw George Pickens take another step. I like that. I wanted more from those other guys, and I wanted more opportunities for those other guys. When they saw that they could not run the ball, the Cowboys, against Carolina, and you knew you could not stop Carolina in no way, because your boy Rico was suave. He just went off. And since nobody had any real about it, since the man told you to buckle up and then didn't say nobody buckled up, I guess, he just ran all over the place. So I knew it was going to come down to the offense making plays. And I don't like those plays when they got down there. They had an opportunity, game tied. You have the ball right now. You are the strongest unit for the Dallas Cowboys. Everything riding on that drive. And you saw that play selection. Dump off, lost 5, dump off, lose 7, and bam. I knew then, no way, the miracle of this defense stopping Carolina or stopping certainly Rico Suave. You see what I'm saying? So I was like, wow. But honestly, when Monday night came around, as bad as I felt, because I had won with Dion, and they had a losing streak. I was just talking to him on the phone, and then we won. I was so happy. Had a great night in New York at the comedy show, and then I got home like, wait a minute, just make a great Sunday. Had a great service, and then boom, the Cowboys gave me that. I've heard that there's a possibility that CeeDee Lamb may come back and play in this game, which I doubt. Just something I've heard. But pretty much sure he'll definitely be back by the next game. And my hopes for the Cowboys right now is going to rely a lot on his health and the level we can take an offense to. My issue with that game is at that time, instead of those two plays, dump offs to their backs, they lost 5 and lost 7 yards. This is that moment. Let's see if Dak can go do the Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's been doing it every week. And Dak and Baker was right here on the MVP race. Baker just edged on up here because he's got his team winning and he's making those unforgettable plays in the midst of claiming and moving towards his MVP. Everybody's going to talk about and show that scramble. I'm not going down. I'm defying this. And I'll break out here and run. And then even though a quarterback position that has been made something soft, he has the moxie dive through that tackle and reach and get that first down. It's stuff movies are made of. You know what I mean? Remember I did for the longest yard, that kind of stuff. The last dive. I'm telling you, this stuff movies are made of. And that's more of a show. I was disappointed that they didn't put it in Dak's hands and throw that ball down the field. I don't care if they drop everybody in the backfield. I certainly don't care if they were blitzing everybody. I just wanted you, Dak, and I wanted you, Coach Schottenheimer, to put it in Dak's hands. Even though he didn't have CeeDee Lamb. Now, I do have to think about that. Not this game after this. CeeDee Lamb comes back and Dak goes to another level. I'm just saying, the only chance we got Dallas is putting up 40 points a game. I'm just letting y'all know. Do they make the playoffs? Hey, chill, man. Do they make the playoffs? That's a good question. All I can tell you when I told you we started this about kissing the baby is, or kissing your sister, is because the honest truth is we didn't lose last weekend. We lost the game. We lost an opportunity, but we didn't lose any positioning in the division. Yeah, New York came up close, but we take care of that. You see what I mean? Because they won one game. We're half a game up, but you're still in the race. And boy, getting past Washington without CeeDee is going to be tough. Yeah. But you saw what happened with Washington. You know, so you guys, how many of you guys do believe that honestly, I shouldn't even say that, how many of you believe that Dallas can beat Washington? You know, it seemed what happened last night just doesn't seem to happen for us or the Dallas Cowboys. You know, yeah, we need a Haley type and Eric Williams in this locker room. I'm with you on that, bro. Bro, you said something right there. That's what we need. We need them on both sides of it, offensive and defensive line. You need those are the exact two guys to mention right there because they bring an attitude that spreads to everything in the locker room. Dude, we don't play like that. We ain't bowing down for nobody. No, ain't nobody doing that. We're not going to let y'all run through us like that. That's exactly what you need. But let me tell you what I was saying. Think about this, dude. It never happens for us. It never. Commanders have the ball. They're in field goal range. All they do is hand this ball off. The game basically over. And they fumble the snap. Chicago jumps in and get it. And this time I'm conflicted because I wanted the Commanders to win at first because I wanted to say, okay, this is going to be our staple win. You know, this is going to be the win. Even though you lost to Carolina, they win, they come in, and then you beat them, you got something. But then I thought, wait a minute. Because then I say, I don't want them coming in here off a loss even more mad. But scrap all of that. They're going to be mad. That doesn't mean anything. Dallas is coming off a loss. So I turned and got for it. Come on, Chicago. I can't believe they just got that fumble. I can't believe that happened. That never happens, man. We don't ever. I don't know if I'm ever. Why we can't ever get it. We get a 4th and 2, and the dude 8 yards. Don't get them. On 4th down. Come on, man. That kid's playing St. Louis. He's playing like an MVP. But right there would have been that moment. You take that team down, you put points on the board, you score a touchdown. Right there makes you feel better about, okay, Dak looks like he's ready to take a step. Because what we're looking for is a moment like that to say that you'll get a different Dak in the playoffs that's ready to win games. A Dak that shows up in big moments just like that and take over a game with his arm. He has that ability, has that talent. Look, you know what I mean? And that's what we're talking about, Baker Mayfield. I bet every one of you saw that play Baker Mayfield made. Every one of you saw that play. Dak needs that kind of game. Now, the great thing is Dak is getting that game, what people are not talking about, and still having big games, with a whole different view from wide receiver 1. Dak's wide receiver 1 is gone. And he was an inside man. Now he's playing wide receiver 1 with an outside man. Wait till they come back together, and then we'll see what happens. But that's the only chance you got is Dak get back in the race. And I told y'all this from the beginning. When he gets CeeDee Lamb back, he started getting back in the race with Baker Mayfield for the MVP. Now, that is the only shot that will go down with these Cowboys for this year. Dude, let's talk about that. That's Sunday. What I saw Sunday too. On a recap, really, the big game we need to start with is the last game on Sunday, and that was the Chiefs-Lions game. Y'all do see the Chiefs put up 30 points. You did see that, right? We already talked about how Baker Mayfield played, and you got to give him credit. But the Chiefs was the one that I thought most people should say, ooh, that looks a little bit too scary again. And they're just finding their way. They're finding their way. They'll get Rashee Rice back that'll give them some more oomph to the plays you're seeing. Juju Smith-Schuster and all those guys grab. They may get a play and catch it and get it down and get 8 yards, 6 yards. But Rashee Rice will take those to 60 and 80 yards, different plays. You'll start adding that kind of explosiveness back into the Chiefs. That's going to be a different game. And here's this now. Nobody's going to be afraid of the Chiefs anymore. And it's coming down now. Every one of these games, guys, are going to come down to close games, and it's going to come down to the better coach. And coaching is going to play such a role in this season. I'm telling you right now, the champions, whoever goes champion, that record is going to be 10-7 or 11-6. You're not going to have one of these 15-2 champions or 14-3 champions. Ain't happening. We're going to be looking at a 10-7, 11-6 champion. I'm telling you. So you're not going to get dominance and domination. You're not getting domination. You're going to see, and it's going to be, everything's going to be predicated on the quarterback. Look around the league. Josh Allen didn't play well. Okay, they lose. Baker Mayfield played great. Oh, okay. They win. You know what I mean? Everybody, you look around the league, it's going to come down to your quarterback play at that time. And y'all saw the quarterback play of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We've already talked about them in the MVP realm, but here's why. Here's why. And here's why even him and Dak in the MVP realm. You know, Dak's doing it without his top receiver. So you say, oh, well, Dak's doing it without CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, okay. And Baker Mayfield doing it without his top three receivers now. You know, it was Mike Evans, it was Godwin, and then Emeka Ibuka got hurt. He went to Ted's. He's doing it over and over. It doesn't matter the level of what guys you put around him. He's willing them to a victory, and that's big because when he does get his guys back, and that on top of what they're doing now, maybe we will have a team that says, over here, dominance. Like, that's amazing because it just clicked to me that okay, I'm saying the same thing, but the Bucks, with what I'm seeing, and with I just heard myself say that what I'm seeing, and him winning with his third group of receivers. Oh, you imagine when they get everybody back and they can blend back in. Oh my God. Well, I have to say my thoughts just right there. They're staying corrected on that. We can get possibly, we don't have dominance right now. We can possibly get dominance. And the only team that can give it to us, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's I would have to admit it to that when I'm looking at it, because how Baker's playing. And this is without his top dudes. I told people this, and I told y'all this. Somebody got mad at me about this. The most important thing, or the top thing I think you can have on a football team, is if your emotional leader of your team is also your quarterback. No, you got it. If your emotional leader of the team is also the quarterback, you'll do a lot of winning. Tom Brady was that emotional leader. You know what I mean? So now when we say let's go, it's let's go. It's our leader and emotional leader. And Baker's that. I liken those two before in this realm, and people wanted to laugh me out of my out of the studio. What? I said, no, you don't see this. You don't see. I mean, each team feeds off the energy of that quarterback. New England was a team that nobody gave credit to, but somehow really found a way when they first beat the greatest team on turf in the Rams. And they were always a bunch of guys that worked hard together. That's kind of what Tom Brady was coming from Michigan. Just a guy that works hard, earn what he gets. Yeah. And now Baker with that, fight anything, everybody for mine. And now he has his. And that team, tell y'all, it's just interesting how that picks up, man. I like looking at things like that. You know what I mean? I like looking at things like that. And though Troy's not that, because Sappy was asking me, was Troy that? Troy was the more directed. But since I had such an understanding from Coach Gary Stevens about the important role of the quarterback, and we cannot mess with his mind. We got. I capitulated all of that. Now I would be the emotional leader, but no way am I in any way going to ever go against Troy. So we still got one leadership. You see what I mean? But most of the time, if you get a leadership and it's somebody emotional leader, and they don't yeah, that thing can get crazy. But Baker's that. I'm just telling you guys, watch it. Watch it. The team goes as Baker goes. And it's nice to watch because it, you remove the Mike Evans, you remove the Chris Godwins. So I can say that he just fell into what Brady left and doing stuff with it. No, this is now Baker Mayfield doing stuff with it. And we got to give him credit. That's all. You know what I mean? We got to give him credit. Let's give him credit on that. Love your passion fight. Love it in sideline at Miami, man, with those young men. I do, hey, man, listen, did you guys see that? And also, I told you I was just talking to Ty. He called me, man. He said, man, that speech after the game, he says everything. He said, man, I appreciate you coming through with that, man, because he just called me up. It wasn't planned, right? And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it was, we were talking about that. What the thing is trying to get kids to understand, like, these games mean way more than games. I'm telling you, you think it's just a football game, but this is how you're going to be looking at things in your life, and it's important to win those games. So, yeah. And it's like I tell you, I think football teaches us everything we need. Everything we need. There is no getting around it. You know what I mean? Like when T.O. did to McNabb. Why y'all bringing up T.O. and McNabb? You know what I mean? But that analogy is a good analogy. You know what? That was a good one, buddy. That was a good one. Because he's right. You guys remember the Super Bowl, T.O. T.O. was that emotional spark leader, and he fought and didn't make it right, and yeah, and McNabb, and then they started, yeah. And dude, that team could have been dominant. That team could have been very dominant. But that's exactly the split. You had a leader and the emotional leader in a different place. And they were not commingling. T.O. put on a hell of a performance. He walked away without the title. It's a principle that will not be violated because it takes too many people in this game to win a championship. I tell people all the time, it takes too many people working together collectively with a collective will to win. You can have those arguments in basketball and baseball, but you cannot do it in football. And that was a good example, buddy. I gotta give you credit on that. You can't trump the quarterback. You're right. And listen, speaking of history repeating itself, dude, I'm not saying that AJ and AJ and Jalen Hurts are at nowhere near what we saw with T.O. and McNabb. But it's floating in the ether. Something's floating in the ether. And even when they tried to get AJ the ball the other day, last Thursday, Philly still came up short. Putting up 17 points. I was looking at this, man, and I was, of course, wondering how many people are going to make it through week 8, in their present position. Philly's offensive coordinator, and you can't keep putting up 17 points with all this talent. You can't do that. Yeah. Matt Eberflus, I ain't saying you got a whole lot of talent, but I don't know how long they'll let this, keep going. Brian Callahan just got let go. You're turning the corner where now they start saying, okay, we've seen a half season. This obviously ain't gonna work. We'll make some changes and try to do something right here to try to save whatever we have left. So I'm just saying, watch a lot of things that may be happening. over these next few weeks. If some other things ain't work it out and fix it out, right? Saquon isn't getting the carries either. Yeah, and say Saquon, but Saquon's good. He's not going to say anything. Saquon's good, and he benefited from a smart attorney and a smart agent who jumped right back in, or I hope set some kind of, if he does this, we'll get a new deal because he got a new deal. If he'd have waited on this being the year and then get the new deal after last season, what you think his numbers would be looking like right now? You see what I'm digging? Yeah. He fell right on it. Y'all can say what y'all want to say now. Hold on. Make that Thursday night game. Give me them numbers on Scatterboo in Philly. Y'all don't want to be mad. Y'all don't want to talk about that. And y'all don't want to talk about what the Giants beat the Eagles. I thought no way this would happen. No way. Let alone Chicago beating Commanders. I thought no way that will happen because I was like, okay, once they beat Chicago, everybody gonna be like, Chicago beat Dallas, all that stuff. They'll try to draw that conclusion. But the Giants are different. They're different now, and I like the difference I'm seeing. Let me tell you guys. Let me ask you this. Let me ask this too. Wait. I want to ask you this. Oh, water. You got to drink it fast too, because it's hydrogen water. So I got to put it in. In my body fast enough so I can keep it the hydrogen in the water. But listen, nobody thought the Giants, and me too, so I'm not messing with you guys. Nobody thought the Giants would beat the Eagles. The Giants always lose to the Eagles. And this was supposed to be the bounce back game for the Eagles after only putting up 17 points and losing that game against Denver. And boom, dude, with them young boys over there, that's Scatterboo and Dart, the Giants, the attitude that those young dudes bring is something different. It's something different. We came. Saquon Barkley was supposed to come back and be the man. Scatterboo said, "Not in my camp, not here." I mean, he was that dude is strong, and he runs very, very strong. Somebody was saying he reminds him of some Riggins, just hard. One of them hard white boys that will go just run you over. Yeah. How do y'all think that's going to play out? Remember now, this was a team that went 10-1 one time and flipped and went 1-5 to end it up. So it'll be volatile. They can't be volatile. You guys tell me right now. Right now. Okay. All right. Like, who would be the best team? They tried to get me on the KMMA show the other day. They asked, who's the worst team in the NFC East? And I said, well, okay. He said, they'll tell the truth. I said, okay, you want my opinion or you want what's facts? Tell me what you think. I said, okay, well, Cowboys aren't the worst team in the NFC. Oh, man, you serious? Mike, that's the worst team. The Giants just beat the Eagles. Okay, but they got more. Cowboys still have a half a game up on them. You see what I'm saying? You want me to say that they're the best because you want me to somehow skirt the facts to fit the conclusion that you guys will come up with. You know what I'm saying? That's just not the reality. They were not. But who you guys think you win this thing? Everybody thought, who's talking about this rigged? It's not rigged. Everybody thought that the Eagles would run away with this division. And then surely thought, oh no, you got Washington right here. And now it's pretty open. question is, can Dallas sneak in this thing and get that win? You know, can he win? Hey, hey, who is this? What's it? Scatterboo, nobody wants to hit with Young Mike. I'm telling you, man. You call him Young Mike All-Star. Chris. Okay, Christopher. Scatterboo, nobody wants to hit. He is smaller. I think Mike All-Star, smaller than Riggin, but I'm telling you, strong. He's as strong. I don't know if it's a strong word, but as strong. And you got to understand this too. Mass, power. You still can turn mass if you have a smaller frame. You can still, with a smaller mass, you can still turn it into power. Speed is power time. The speed in which I hit you, or the speed in which you know what I mean, it's power. Also, so yeah, you know what I mean. I'm just yeah. So I'm telling you, Scatterboo has such a burst. He didn't have a big mass, but he has such a burst. And I'm gonna tell you, watch when he does that backflip. You know, the only person I've seen, and I'm telling you, go Google it. Go Google it and do backflips. Watch everybody else that does back. I see everything. My mind is, I'm just crazy. I'm crazy. Okay. Everybody else that does backflips, they flip and watch the middle of their body. Okay. I'll be like, ooh, I want to make sure you make it all the way around. You know, make sure you make it all the way around. I don't want you to hurt yourself and fall on your head. But go watch Scatterboo flip backwards. And then look up Tyreek Hill flipping backwards. And watch how high they jump. That tells you the power that they have and the speed and the explosiveness. Watch it. I promise you, go look it up. You go say, damn, he's right. You're right. They jump and they flip. That's all that power. And their legs just explode, all that power. So, no, man, that's a strong dude, man. That's a strong dude, man. I don't know what y'all got to say. No, they trying me. No, man. No, no, man. I don't do keto. Like I try to eat a lot of proteins and get off the carbs, but I love carbs so much. But yeah, now I've done it. I'll do it. I'll say sometimes, okay, man, you getting a little something. Let's do 2 weeks all protein, you know, but yeah. But then I get back. But that's what they do when they do the bodybuilding things, right? Yeah, they do that. They eat all protein. They didn't put carbs back in their body and they feel more muscular. So no. Yeah, I like working. I like working out. Oh yeah, bro. I appreciate that. Can you talk sense management for us? Can I talk sense into upper management for us? Here's a question. Do you guys want Jerry to try to go in and do something with those draft picks for this year, to go in and make a trade or do something, use that capital? You think there's something out there that he can use this capital on that can change where this thing is headed for this year? The one thing that could have changed it went to Green Bay. That's just it. The one thing that could have changed it went to Green Bay. What we've had over the years, or I shouldn't say went to, I should say was sent to, right? What we had, at least, even when you were never able to stop the run, you had a menace attacking the quarterback and giving him only 2.6, 2.5 seconds to throw. And then you had a menace in the secondary in Trayvon Diggs, who fed off the menace that put pressure on the quarterbacks. He can jump those early routes because you didn't have time. And now when you took that away from this defense, because that asset of getting turnovers can help mask you never stopping the run. He gets turnovers, give that offense, they go score. Oh, okay. You get another turnover, give it the offense, they go score. Sooner or later, that stops your running. You got to start catching up. That combination worked with what they had on offense. And they broke up that combination. I don't know if they even thought through this to the depth I'm saying. But that's why. Now, with money you didn't give Michael, you have to be questioning what you done with Trayvon because they work so well together. And if you can't get another dude to put pressure, then you got to look at all of it. That's what I'm saying. You know, yeah. And I've also heard, I see guys, he's asking about Diggs. Jeremiah said Diggs looked like he's not really healthy. He said don't want to be in Dallas anymore. I don't know that. I think he looks like he's not fully healthy. He's not fully healthy. Diggs wants to be in Dallas. Diggs know Michael Parsons wants to be in Dallas. He knows that. That's why Michael Parsons was at the fair. And I'm sure they're talking about it and all of that. But I will say, because I don't say that he doesn't love the game and still love the game and still want to play this game at a high level. I just don't know if he's totally healthy. And because of all the stuff that went on prior to the season, remember this, when Diggs worked out in Miami or something instead of coming back here, and then Jerry announced that fine. Now he couldn't come back and say, well, I'm not totally healthy. I need a couple more weeks because, so he's out there. And I just don't know if he's totally healthy. That's what I say to that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got you, man. The man is like, he's not looking uninterested. That on Diggs, right? He's not looking uninterested in every play. He's looking baffled and befuddled because he studied these guys and he knows what's going on. And he does know if the pressure can get to the quarterback. That's what we've seen in his career up to this point. But if you're going to double move me and have time to double move me and then sit in the pocket and nobody's near you and you're going to make a third purpose, yes. Yeah, it's going to be tough. And he's sitting there saying, wow, do I stop? Do I stop and give up my edge? Because I'm a ball hawker. Now I'm not as valuable of a corner if I stop and give up my edge. Do I believe these guys are going to get pressure, even when we're calling blitz, and make that play or try to make that play? Or do I live scared and start backing out, afraid to make any play? And when it's 4th and 4 or whatever we had the other night, you're 100 damn yards back. It's very difficult to deal with something what Trayvon Diggs dealing with. I'm telling you what he's trying to feel and what he's going through. And I don't want him to change his game. I want us to get somebody to put pressure on the quarterback because defense alone doesn't win championships. Turnover defense gives you a chance to win championships. And I want him to have his turnover ability that'll help minimize the non-stopping the run, not able to stop the run, and then get a ball back to that potent offense. I got to get out of that. I got to get out of that. Why do I keep coming back there? I just got to get out of it. You know what I mean? I got to be able to get out of that. I got to be able to get out of it. Man, let's see. I know somebody was asking me about Miami. I tell you, too, I can't wait to go back for this game. We got a game this weekend, too, It'll be Friday night in Miami. Those are the best things, though. Now, out of all of it, really, that college atmosphere and being out there with Miami and watching those young guys play like I did watching Dion and those young guys play. You guys do know, Dion had that surgery Wednesday and went right to practice Thursday morning. I mean, and then turn around and his team fight like that and put up those kind of games. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's real stuff, y'all. I like that. That's the game. That's what this game brings. Give people another chance. Dart out here playing the Giants. This I asked somebody about the other day because and watching that game with the Giants, have you guys ever seen this before? And I'm gonna watch this. Have you guys ever seen it before? And and that this is strange to me. Like and I love him, and he does a great job in his speeches, but when Jameis Winston does the pregame speech for the Giants, and they love him, I love him. Love the pregame speech. I love his hype. He's a good motivational speaker. But don't you have to be able to get on the field and do something? You just can't go right to the bench after the pregame speech. Only the coach can do it. It's just interesting. It's interesting. And yeah. Or, and I guess another way I'm asking that, will Doc become that emotional leader like the Baker Mayfield, and I told you the Tom Brady? You know what? That's the way I should be saying it. That's what I should be talking about because you see him and Scatterboo doing all that dance and stuff. You know what I mean? So he has that emotion in him. He's just young right now. But yeah, oh yeah, yeah, I can see that. Okay, so now I change my perspective on Jameis Winston because he has to help give this young man Dart that thing that he has about speaking to the team. If you put that in, and yeah, it'll be you have to do it naturally and fit him. But I'm telling you, you put that in where he's standing in there and being able to say, "Gosh, this is going to be the kind of fight. Let's go!" And then goes out and plays like he plays, running around like that, make you stand calm and big plays and looking downfield and running, getting a first down. It looks just wee, like just your dead wee, and don't even have Malik neighbors out there yet. I'm telling you, it can look just a teeny little bit, just like Patrick Mahomes. You know, because the dude can move around and he likes to have fun. I saw that. I see that. You can see the team likes him. You see the energy he creates. Uh, he goes over to boy Scatterboo. You know they boys, so they gonna be locked in trying to do it together. I'm telling y'all, watch that now. Watch that. That could be something, as you know. And remember, that's how the Philadelphia Eagles started out. With Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, even though things are getting a little different right now, a little funny, So we'll see and watch it. We'll sit back and watch it. Let me just hit it and see what you guys go. Dot and Jameis sharing carbs on sideline. Yeah, I like that he's always there. Jameis taking care of him. But when Jameis gives him that, and that kid has what he has, now New York's a tough place. But that was a hell of a game for him and takes him to a whole nother level. Dude, that's one thing too. Did y'all see how Coach acted when the man got hurt? And he was in the protocol. It was like, don't let Russell, everybody was going crazy at the stadium. I felt so bad for Russ. I just want to say I felt bad for Russ. You know what I mean? I did. So I'll let that go. You know. Wait. What do you mean wait until we get CJ back? Well, with I thought you were talking about CJ Stroud. I thought you were going to say, well, with CJ Stroud with all of that. Yeah, I'm talking about so we were talking about quarterbacks. Think first, playmaker. What do we should bring back Gilly. I don't know about that. What do you want the Cowboys to trade for? And I don't know. That's what I'm asking you guys. I don't know what they could trade for. I don't see anything out here that can fix this with one swoop. Is the question. You know, where I'm talking about on defense. I don't see anything out here that can fix it with one swoop. Michael was such a unique player. You can't just go behind and even give somebody and say, "Oh, we want a top pass rusher," because he's so quick getting off the ball. It's just, yeah, 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 and looking for a run stopper. Cowboys looking for a run stopper. Okay, we've been doing that forever. We hadn't made the right decisions on that. So I don't know that I want to give up the capital to go get a run stopper right now that's in the league already. Unless you're gonna get me Chris Jones from the you're not gonna get me Chris Jones. Those 2 first-round picks. And people think about a Trey Henderson, you put that, it would be in Cincinnati. I don't know that I want to give up those resources. I would be almost more inclined to keep just getting CeeDee Lamb back and trying to go to 40 points and then hold on to those resources. I'll find something's fall off the tree, which I doubt, but I don't want to use those resources, if you know what I mean. All right. All right. Let me get out of here. They're making noise in there, so I got to get ready to. Okay. Mm-hmm. Chris Jones sucks too much. What do you mean don't go his way? No. Things will go his way over here. They'll go his way. Dude, Chris Jones. You know who else I'll take? I'll take a Myles Garrett. Let me correct that. And we can send both of them to Cleveland right now for Myles Garrett. I'll take a Myles Garrett. But none of this is going to happen. So let's stop playing with this. None of it's going to happen. We're the only ones to say, "Oh, let's give up this kind of player." Nobody else is that crazy. You know what I mean? I do got another meeting going on in here. I can hear him making noise, getting ready. Guys, listen. We'll talk again tomorrow. All right? I appreciate your locker room. Stay cool. Stay peace. Now, wait. I need this. I need this to get out because Miami this week. Well, I'll put out a separate thing for that. I'll put out a separate thing for that. We'll wait. We'll put out a separate thing for that. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you hanging out in the locker room over here. Love you too, buddy. Appreciate that. Thank you, Playmaker. Go Cowboys. Go Canes. Go Canes. I know we'll put out a separate thing on those Canes by myself because I want to separate it out. We got to get ready for that game. You know what I mean? Dude, why you gonna call them, man? Come on, Anonymous. See, you can't lose to don't call them by their old names. And they're not the Commanders. But a win with the Commanders would put us in a, yeah. Remember, outside of the Bucks, this thing, somebody gonna be having that 10-2, that 10-7, and 11-6, and be right in the thick of this thing, and possibly can be our Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, I appreciate that too. I don't know if I'll go Drake May for MVP. I'm not putting him in there, but I like what I'm seeing. I'm just dropping off on it. Hey, God bless you too, Sam. I appreciate that, brother. You know what I mean? Safe travel, Playmaker. I'm just traveling to the kitchen right here, and then I'll travel later this week to Miami. All right, guys. Appreciate you spending a moment with me here in the locker room. Get some